Reduce the volume better.
A very warm welcome to Secrets of Living a Full Life. We go live every Wednesday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. But today we are a little early because we have a special guest with us. And it's going to be a phenomenal session today because the topic is a little weird. You may wonder what it means. But yes, I have my team member Poojan who will be introducing you to the topic and to both of us. Yes, Poojan, go ahead.
So first of all, I would love to welcome Ms. Tarveen Kaur, the founder of Personify and a TEDx speaker.
Yeah.
And I would like to welcome the founder of Management Me and a life and leadership coach, Ms. Vijay Tushar. And today they have joined. Uh, it is a paradox actually that two of the most busiest women have joined in joined at the management meet to talk about a topic named doing nothing.
That's exactly what we are doing here right now, doing nothing. But this doing nothing is also with an agenda. So we can't say that this is actual doing nothing. So, well, we are ready for it. You can shoot. Go ahead and ask us whatever you
Okay.
want.
Okay. So, firstly, when you hear about the phrase doing nothing, what does it mean to you personally?
For me, I feel it is like being lazy. How can you sit idle is one phrase that has stuck to my mind, you know? You have to do something. How can you be idle? And being idle is not good, is what comes to my mind.
What about you?
Again, it's so true, because because of our schedule and the work routine, we feel doing nothing could be don't do your work, don't do any exercise, but maybe just watch a sitcom that relaxes you. But actually, that is again with the thing because there's an agenda behind, and I'm watching that sitcom because it's my downtime.
All right.
Yes.
So, as we all know, both of you are founders and wonderful leaders. So, as founders and leaders, were there moments when doing nothing felt irresponsible or uncomfortable?
I think I'll take it later. You can go ahead.
Okay, so I'll say this. Yes, there was a phase in my life, maybe when I would say initially, when my work schedule was super busy, people are dependent on you, and you're always like, I have to plan something, I have to make something has to go on in the routine, and then I have to fix these problems, I have to get going. And if I would sit thinking that, okay, I'm not doing anything, I would feel like, what are you doing? Your mind would be like, come on, get up, start doing, either work on something, plan something, or go propose something. So there's always something there's going on. But as time evolved, I evolved, and I realized one day just sitting down, what if I don't have to do anything and let it be effortlessly coming through, and let the ideas come through, let the work come through. Why do I also have to have all the people's answerable, and I have to fix them also? I have to fix myself also. And that's when I realized doing that thing is not about being lazy or irresponsible. It's actually giving an opportunity to yourself and also to other people that it's okay that we are just giving that grace time to each other.
Yes.
To bring the best out, listen to other people. Otherwise, we're only listening to ourselves and our busy mind.
Exactly. And may I ask you, when did you have this realization?
I would say this started gradual development post COVID. I think COVID was one period where we stayed so much indoors. And while as trainers, our work was still going on by God's grace, we quickly adapted to online mode. People were receptive to it. But at that time, we realized it was not about having an agenda of sessions. It was also like we were learning, all the labs was happening, Zoom was getting out, people were not able to hear you, and all those glitches and everything that happened. And still, the session would be wonderful because at the end, it was about not trying hard to be a perfectionist, sounding the right thing. And then slowly, that came back when we came back to our real world, when we went on field again. And I was like, it's okay if the session didn't happen the way it was, but something, the connect happened. So doing nothing is not about just sitting and folding your hands. It really means that you don't have to try to improvise everything. You should just enjoy the moment and be in the present.
So I just had this realization yesterday.
Oh, wow.
And that's That's how I coined this doing nothing to be today's session, because I am always a person who's on the move. Either I'm solving my problems or I'm solving somebody else's problem, because we
Correct.
are into the business of problems, right? So there was not a single day when I wouldn't be doing this or that. To
Correct.
always be something. And at night also, when my head is my pillow, I would have a good sleep. After that, I would start waking up somewhere around 3:30. And I would have these ideas coming up. Tomorrow I got to have this plan. I have to do this, I have to do that. So even though I was asleep, I was not sleeping. Correct. So I came to an extent where my body gave in. It was like a burnout, and I was on bed. I was in bed in such a way that I just couldn't come out of the bed, and I was getting very irritated with that fact, because never used to be there doing nothing except sleeping. Okay. So my son said, Mama, it's okay. Why do you have to do something? And then it struck me, let me just enjoy this time of doing nothing. And and it was so beautiful. I just said, first time I took a breath of relief and I said, hush, no agenda, nothing. जो हो रहा है होने दो, जो नहीं हो रहा है वो भी होने दो, and let me be okay with that. So I wasn't getting food on time, and I said, it's okay. Let me just try if my stomach is asking for more. And it so happened that my body started cooperating with me, and I started enjoying that period of bliss so much so that I suddenly got an idea. So it was like a eureka moment. So I got a number of ideas and I am implementing that now. So this was one such idea that came to me in a moment of doing nothing. So when you are doing nothing and you've not given an agenda to your brain gets that breathing space. Just as, like, you have a number of things charged to a plug point. Ultimately, the plug point just goes, push, or the computer hangs. And when it hangs, it gets time to reboot. So if you have to reboot a computer, you will be putting it as Control, Alt, and Delete. This is what I learned from my technology class. So Control, Alt, and Delete is rebooting the system to carry on its work after a period of rest. So our body may rest, but does your mind rest? Does your brain ever get that space to just be? You don't do that. And giving rest to your brain, I realized in the process, is a very, very important thing. And I would say it's like clearing the board of whatever you have written. So there is a blank space, and that blank space gives you a renewed energy to write something new. Otherwise, what we are doing is we're just cramming up the board with a number of things that we have written and finding space to write something. So the board gets crammed. Board means your brain. Yes. So we have to have that moment of doing nothing, no agenda. And then suddenly you will hear the parrot, you will hear the myna, you will hear the sounds which you have never heard before. And I think, that's when you can connect to the universe. And whatever is happening, just allow and be in a state which is called as the flow. What's your next question to us?
So, I would like to add up to that. When
Yeah.
I was sitting in my music class,
Ah.
at that time I realized about the same topic that in music there is spaces, there are some, silence. That is what makes music. There is no continuous sound going on.
Yes.
So there is a very like as important the like the importance of sound is
in the silence.
huh,
And in
So
the
sound gets meaning in the silence. What a beautiful thing.
in
Yeah.
the silence and in the space for people, because at least sometimes most of the problems don't need your addressing them, they don't need solving. All you need to do is space from the problem, and the problem actually gets solved on its own.
Dissolved. Yes, yes. Either it gets solved or it gets
gets
dissolved.
So my next question is that many people say that rest is reward, while others argue that rest is just a part of the work. So what is your take?
Rest is what, if you could repeat the question?
Reward. Reward.
While others argue but rest is just the part of the work.
Rest is the part of the work.
Because we have grown with the mindset that everything has to be earned. You have to earn it. So they feel that rest also should be earned. It's not something that you should give. But in fact, if you go to see our body, it works in a mechanism when you just sleep. Body has the best way of healing. No medicine can heal it the way you just give good sleep and rest. When you go to a doctor also, we like you started the conversation today saying that we are in the business of problem solving, either our own problems or fixing other
Somebody
people's problems. But what if problem itself is not the problem and it could be a medicine of, just taking it out. And like very nicely you said, I believe that unplugging thing that you said, everything in this world works very well if you unplug it for a few minutes. And same is for your mind. And this I would connect with me, like, like you said, you wake up at 3:30. Why at those hours? And it happens with most of us. We wake up at these odd hours. Or when we are in the shower, we get those ideas which you never got and you want to come out. And I haven't started getting a habit to quickly jot it down before you get into your calls or getting busy. Or you're in a walk for quieter moment because that time you're not deluded by anything. There is no disturbance, and that is stillness. So saying that rest is not a reward, it is a necessity. It is a restoration for yourself.
Correct.
And you don't need to earn it. You already should be giving it to yourself like a compulsion routine, like a mechanism of your daily to do. That what did I do to relax today?
So there was a survey that was done by the Harvard Business School, and they said that when they studied around 18,000 employees in high pressure workforce, they found that each employee worked for somewhere between 50 to 65 hours a week. And the result was burnout.
Correct.
So one of the organizations decided to change that. And I believe in Vishen Lakhani of Mind Valley, where he has kept special places where the employees can go and just have a quiet nap. Because that rest is recharging. Even your battery, after some time, it gets discharged. So you need to charge it again. So I believe this doing nothing and just being, maybe not even sleeping, I would say. Just because sleep is a part of rest, but doing nothing, I wouldn't say is a part of rest, but doing nothing is a conscious attempt to ensure that you have a breathing space, that you have the space where you can build an extreme focus. So I believe that doing nothing will increase your focus, your concentration, your productivity, and your creativity, because the mind has to have some time, by which it try to think beyond the box or outside the box. And if you don't give it that time and you cram it up with a lot of work, definitely it is going to have a burnout. So to prevent the brain from getting a burnout, I think this is a fix.
Because I don't think we get tired because we have too much to do. It's just that we don't take a break from doing so many things.
Yes.
So
And
definitely.
I think it is also a something that is a part of a very passionate person's life. If you're passionate about something, you're so consumed by your passion that you do not pause to
Correct.
take that recharge. And I think specifically for people who are passionate about their work, your work is indispensable. You are indispensable. Nothing is going to stop. Everything is going to continue.
Yeah.
So you are not indispensable. That file can be submitted tomorrow also. But your burnout cannot stop. So you ensure that you are in a good health zone and take up this nap. So there is one concept which I learned from Brendan Butchard. He's also a great motivational speaker. He says, use the 50-10 rule. So the 50-10 rule is 50 minutes, fully concentrate on whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And 10 minutes, just do nothing.
In studies, like
Even in studies, yes.
this is
yes.
called the Pomodoro method,
Ah.
in which either you study for 25 minutes and take 5 minutes break,
Yeah.
or if you want to
50
study
minutes
for a
and 10 minutes.
longer
break.
rest.
Yes.
Right.
That's because that space is necessary to move. It's like, traffic jam ho raha hai.
And it's required with this buzzing world, because at 25 minutes also there's so many notifications coming, so many pings. The
yeah.
ping comes and you are like, okay, who's
Distracted.
calling me in this world? So that's what I think we do in our training room. Like, put your phone on silent unless God is calling you, and God isn't calling me right now. So please put your phone on silent mode.
So let's meet God without the phone. That's what doing nothing means to me today. Let's meet God without taking up the phone,
Yeah, you
or anybody else for that matter. Just you and God is nothing. I think we also have this concept of shunyata, where you say you come into that shunyata, or the no space, no time zone, where you just try to be there and everything happens.
Correct.
सो नदी बहती है तो किसी को आके उसको धक्का नहीं देना पड़ता है, वो तो बहती रहती है. अगर पेड़ ऊपर मतलब बढ़ रहा है तो वो अपनी एनर्जी से बढ़ रहा है, राइट. उसको जाके एक्स्ट्रा तुमको कुछ देना नहीं पड़ता है. लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल this tree has got enough from the soil. Now you have to go and put manure or put something else, because it's grown to that state. So you have grown to that state where you just will go automatically higher. So many times, when we are doing some sessions and all, people ask me, Madam, kya karne wala hai? And I'm like, okay, don't ask me that question. Your outcome I will reach. Because for me, connecting to the divine within each individual and giving them what they want is of prime importance, rather than cramming myself with a lot of theory and jargons and, giving it to them, which they may or may not need. So why not utilize the divine intelligence instead of using our own intelligence, what we have earned from the university, which sometimes half the time is not required.
So on this, I want to ask you, in practicality, how much are you able to apply that 50-10 rule to yourself? Like when you're sitting and doing a presentation, getting ready for your session, getting ready for the next meeting, how much? Because I have tried many times to do that. I have tried actually consciously to do more than to give a break to my body, because we keep sitting for so long. And in the middle, I had a feeling that, my knees or my ligaments or neck is getting stiff. And that was the only reason, because we're continuously either down or we are writing or messaging. And we don't realize for 2-3 hours, we are just sitting.
Yeah.
And so I thought maybe wear those watch, but that will remind you.
A timer.
Yeah. And then even if that comes, but you middle something, you're like, forget it, ignore it. And then that 20 minutes go to, like 2 hours.
So that's what I'm realizing. As I told you yesterday only, I realized the importance of doing nothing.
Yeah.
So I have tried that I will take a break. I have taught people about it. But when it came to my own work, I was so passionate about what I'm doing that I would get consumed. What 50 minute? I would go up to 2 hours, 3 hours, because I'm enjoying what I'm doing.
But
So
then
then
how
I
do we
realized
break this habit? Because we are in the
yes,
habit of it.
that's with an awareness, a conscious
Yeah.
decision. So now instead of thinking I don't have anything to do and feeling bad about it, I will say, great, I don't have anything to do. Because these are moments that come to us, which is a, I would say, what is a privilege.
Yes.
So if you're getting, so today only, as I was looking into the mirror after I decided on this topic, I said, hey, Vijay, it's okay. Next time if you feel ill, na, don't feel bad. Use the time to recharge yourself.
Yeah.
Otherwise, for me, as I told you, falling ill is the end of the world. I cannot fall ill. I have to be up. I have to be about. So for me, falling ill is a great fear. And if I don't get well within 3 days, I go mad, I go paranoid. So this was a revelation for me specifically. And all those of you who are watching, if you're in high pressure work, you need to understand nothing should come at your body's cost. Nothing should come at your mental health cost. So it also allows you to, for me, what happened is it gave me a new perspective about things that I had never thought about. Right. So true. So piche jo tha na, everything came in the forefront. And I was able to look at those issues and those problems about myself, which I've never dealt with. And one of the realizations that came to me was, there are certain things which I said, hai problem, deal karenge. Right now, I have got my work, let me look into my work. So that deal karenge was pushed so much that finally my body gave in and said, look, I can't wait for it. Deal with it right now. And that helped me take up a lot of decisions and real life decisions, which might be difficult. One of the decisions I would say is to be more assertive. Yes. which I used to feel bad. And I get a client also who's not able to be assertive. So today itself, I shared with her that, being assertive is so difficult for people who like to have been the good books of everyone. Like I was a good student, I was a good parent, I was a good teacher. I had to be in the good books of
A good
everyone.
friend and
A
a
good
good
friend, which I will continue to be. But it is not necessary always. You can be mad at times and it's fine.
Absolutely. I feel filters are not required in real life. Social media, yes, because everything is all about visual.
Yes.
We all like what is looking good. Even if we are babysitting, I'm sure more than looking at us, you'll also enjoy the beautiful environment we are
Yes,
sitting in.
yes.
Because greenery, nature has its way of soothing. And that's simply saying with the visuals. Visuals work on our senses, and we are all about our senses. That's why the most important thing in human beings' life, right from the time they're born till the last day, is eating. Now that whether that eating is a social eating, whether it is eating just binge eating or boredom eating, emotional eating, or just connecting and eating. Why? Because that's the only place where all your five senses, right from looking at it, the aroma of it, talking about while eating food, we're already talking about the next meal and what we are going to be, or how the recipe of it is, or maybe some of us will say too much calories eaten, but we're still eating. Today it's okay, tomorrow onwards I'll start. So that's an emotional thing that happens. And doing nothing is where you bring your five senses to life. There's a word, which we call as mindful.
Yeah.
Either you can have mindful, FULL, which is full of everything at your ear. You might be with me here. I'm with you, all of you, but my mind is right now, okay, after this has to be done, this has to be answered. That email is left, this project is left. Tomorrow morning, I should do this. How's the video going? How many people are there? All of those things. And then there is mindful, where it is just you are here. It's not looking at things with the specs or a lens of how it should be, how it should not be. It's like enjoying the moment and let's say what comes to you naturally and effortlessly. Whether it's in relationship, whether it's at work, definitely you can't. Nobody wants your opinion. You Nobody needs that. You need to rationalize, evaluate what you're speaking, on what context you're speaking, what is the validation, what are the facts for it, and bring it forward. And that's what we do. It's not about just sitting in a live talk show because it's about a topic, but it is something which we're experimenting ourselves, bringing it to our programs, bringing it to our own life, and then sharing whatever good we can learn out of it.
True. And definitely, you've already taken the words out of my mouth. I do have an idea which we'll be doing together, executing together. So everybody can come for it. And it's a top secret as of now. But definitely, we will be putting out the flyers and giving you the notifications of what we're going to do. It's going to be really phenomenal. So,
I think,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
doing nothing is actually not doing nothing. It's like you disconnect from your always consuming mode and sitting still because you are actually not doing nothing. Your body is breathing, it's listening, it's watching. So things are happening. It's not that you are completely blank. Uh, yeah.
I think there is a Dutch word for this which has become a philosophy, which called Nixon, Niksen, which means celebrating nothing or the art of doing nothing.
In Italy also Italians say this la dolce far niente. It means the sweetness
Can you
of
say that
doing
again?
La dolce far niente.
Okay.
I don't know if I pronounced
You
it
have
well.
said it right because
Right,
there are many such terms. Even Japanese have buketa, movie in Chinese. So every culture actually, if you go to see, so like you said, the shunya concept. So it is actually every culture. One thing they say is be in stillness. Don't try to actually it's like nature. Let nature prevail. Don't
Yes.
fight nature. Don't try to fix everything. We like to control because I think
Yeah.
our mind is
I think
trained.
I think that is the main thing about
We like to be
life.
in charge and
We like to
control.
be in charge and control. And especially as leadership coach, we are training leaders, and leaders are always in control.
Yeah.
Whether it is your emotions or whether it is something that you have to do, your strategy, you're always in control.
Correct.
And I think once you lose that control and allow somebody else to take charge, I think you can begin from there. You don't have to do everything. Let somebody else do it. Like today, he was asking me, the thumbnail, should it be this much? Should it be that much? I said, forget, let me not be the deciding factor. Do what you want.
Correct.
And it was so much of a stress less for me, whatever arguments you all had, it has to be this font, that font. I said, do what you want. I don't know what you did. You did what you wanted? Yeah, he did what he wanted and it was okay. He's relaxed, I'm relaxed. So now I don't that नहीं इसको ऐसा ही होना चाहिए, ये perfect होना
Try to
चाहिए.
fix, because that's what I said, we
Yeah.
were dependent. The phase which I felt shit is made my, like you said, we are always passionate about our work. We are always working. So stepping back doesn't mean of doing nothing. Means you've stopped working and you're not concentrating. In fact, your productivity is become more because you're energized by it. Now there's more fun and more energy, and there's no burnout. Burnout is when you're totally exhausted, and but you're again waking up next day because of that drive that you have. But if you want to run a long race, it's a marathon. It's not just a one.
Exactly,
So for
exactly.
marathon, you have to not sprint, but you have to just keep building up slowly, gradually, keep going, and keep going.
Correct. So one of the things that came to my mind, I was just doing some research on this, and I found that in 2017, a study from the University of at Buffalo showed that individuals who spend time alone are better able to express themselves creatively. So, creativity is a byproduct of the space that we give our brain. Allow it to come up with its own ideas. That's where originality comes out, right? Otherwise, we're constantly trying to copy and, change it and make something new. That is also creative. But original ideas will come. If you want original ideas, why do poets, artists go into the stillness and just be there? They sometimes take 8 to 10 days to create one painting because they're not getting the inspiration. So we can't tell them, I need an idea in 10 days. So if you get an idea in 10 days, it is going to be cramped. It's not going to have that essence of divinity within it. So I believe that this doing nothing is a very essential part, and I'm definitely going to implement it.
And this, very good part you said, like, people, the writers, the creative, talk about creativity. It's also the personality of people. We talk about all the introvert and extrovert.
Correct.
You might look at an introvert, a person in your group of friends also much quieter than the other person. You might think, oh, they don't have the confidence or they don't have the knowledge about this subject. And some people, they think, okay, just even if they have no knowledge about the subject, they will just jump in and put their opinions and rather speak on things just to be, the loudest person in the room, I would say, not the most, a person that has a poised presence or some attention to it, commanding that aura, but just pushing that attention seeking kind of thing. So understand next time, if somebody is being quieter in the group, or the last person in the meeting room to speak. But when they speak, there's an impact because they are analyzing. So, which you also
Yes.
speak about personality, reflectors are there are activists. So, each personality also shows up in different ways. So, doing nothing might work different for different people. For somebody, it might be just, going for a walk. For somebody, and that walk means just walking, not counting how many steps I've done, how many rounds. Just get in the flow of walking. Don't, and no podcast, no nothing listening. For somebody doing nothing would be taking their cup of tea and person actually sipping. So many times we have a tea is over and we've not realized only, okay, how much tea did I have? And if we ask you, okay, what did you have this morning for breakfast? It takes us 1 minute to realize. Imagine.
One of the things that I cultivate over the period of time is it takes me 1 hour to have my one cup of tea because I sit with my tea and there is nothing. I just look at the tree ahead of
And that's
me.
your ritual, right?
Yeah, that's a
your
ritual. That's my ritual. So that, I've seen those days, I really feel full and highly energetic.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that can benefit you by doing nothing is you will be able to cope better with unexpected challenges in your life because already that space has been created, that energy reserve is full, and therefore you will be able to cope up with challenges in a better way. So HSE Laboratory of Positive Psychology, they tested 200 students and found that those who felt with the time alone tended to be more matured and more resilient. They will not react immediately. They will handle the challenges in a more matured way. I see Poojan to be extremely mature. Like, I mean, she is just a first year psychology student, but she's at times, when I'm just hyper, she say, ma'am, calm down. Everything's okay. It's going to be fine. And I'm saying, oh my God, a 16 or 17-year-old girl talking to me. I'm not going to tell my age, by the way. 18 years old. So I really feel from where does she get this, maturity? So I think
Right.
what you spoke about music, And the silence between the music and the pauses has actually helped you. So I always tell people that you should have 1 hour, one sport, and one intelligent action. So if you are into some kind of art, it gives you that time to do nothing. And I think it is from nothing that everything comes out.
See, today what people are doing, they're spending money to do nothing. They will go to
Yeah.
retreats, they will go to recreation, they will go to mountains. When you are stressed, you want to take a vacation. When you are happy, you want to take a vacation. And then that vacation gets over, but one thing doesn't change is you.
Yeah.
And you're constantly the same person. So you need to understand you don't need to spend money to buy something like that. Like, you ask the question that rest is reward. It is not reward, it's your ownership. You were born to, gifted with these talents, with these traits. I read something very nice when on my way over here when I was driving. And it said relationship is a bond which is not dependent on people. It could be a bond between people who are not equal in talent, qualification, or even their personality. It is a bond between people who are equally committed to understand each other. And that's so beautiful. You need to be only one thing committed. And this is where I think today I would draw that message is that be committed to yourself. What's your one ritual where you're going to do it irrespective, whether it's a 7 a.m. session, it's a 9 a.m. meeting, whether it's dropping children to school, whatever it could be. What is my ritual that between that 30 minutes window, the world can go anywhere, but that 30 minutes, I'm not available for this world. Figure out that ritual
It's
for yourself.
it's difficult for people to say no. Today I was talking to one client of mine. She's saying, I do not want to go to that party, but I don't know how to say no because she's gonna feel bad.
Oh, this
I
is a
said-
very common social trauma that
Social
people go.
trauma. Yes, yes. So I said, I'm sure Usha also is watching. She has taken that bold step to say, no, I am not coming there.
Correct.
Whereas first she could not say that. So I believe like it's a conscious decision to do nothing, because when you do nothing, you will be charged to do everything. That's what I believe. And I think in 2016, a British Journal of Psychology asked 15,000 adults about their level of satisfaction. And they found that those people who did nothing at times, that is spending time alone with themselves, were much more happier than those that had social interaction. In fact, this is also news to me because I thought the more you are socially interacting with people, the more you have people to share your things with. But I think it's news to me now that if you have that ability to be in charge of yourself, even if there are people or there aren't people, then I think that's a great art that you have. So,
It is more, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think it is more of being self-aware of your social battery. Like you
Yeah.
should know that, like, does my social battery reduces when I'm around people, and what kind of people is I am around if that like my social battery is reducing, and who charges me up.
Are they draining you or are they charging
Yeah,
you?
yeah. And then you should know that how to charge my social battery. So the most common and the effective way for me to charge my social battery is to be with myself. So since the last few days, in the evenings when I'm returning from home, returning to home from my office work, I feel extremely bored, and I do not want to scroll on the phone. I do not want to watch TV. Do no work, nothing. So last 2 3 days I have been going out for a walk, no podcast, nothing like you said. And I so much like it related to me that I'm doing nothing. I'm just walking around the my area that I am. Just like that. And it feels so good to be back.
And doing
These
nothing,
small steps.
yeah, doing nothing also helps you to become a better decision maker, because you've already weighed that at 1 or 2 times of your doing nothing spree, and it is already being processed there, so you become apt at making decisions.
And I think doing nothing is a decision in itself. You have to decide what to do. And I think one thing what you said. So two things what I have realized, which I didn't realize because of the concept of doing of nothing, but now when I keep talking and it's coming to me. One thing which I stopped, maybe it's been over 2 years or 3 years, is my social media notifications. So if I don't open my apps myself, I don't come to know. That's why so many times I get tagged for stories. I have no idea. Unless the work handles or not with the company is managing, so they message me or something. all notification, all groups on WhatsApp are silent, all phones are notification. Only when I'm even, even my watch is disconnected. It doesn't have to the Bluetooth when I wear it because I don't want to be disturbed. Second thing I started doing is what I've realized is doing one task at a time. I'm very good in multitasking, but I don't want to be great in multitasking. I want to do one task at a time. And it simply means that if I'm having my cup of tea and I'm thinking, okay, now I'm journaling something. I love reading a lot of spiritual books and philosophers, and I want to learn about it and I make a note. I'm only doing that. Now, between that, I suddenly remember, okay, in work, I have to tell my girl to do this. I will not. And which earlier used to be, I'm leaving a voice note also, then I'm writing here also, I'm addressing the house person also, the office person. And I'll tell you, it's phenomenal. My work is getting better, faster. First, I used to have to-dos, and the to-dos used to have my distress goal was that 2026, if I write today that I'm doing this, I'm committed to complete that. And now the fulfillment is exhilarating because I feel I'm also writing only how much I know I can do it in a day. Sometimes we used to overpromise ourselves.
Yes.
That let's do this also, this also, this also. And that's including going to my gym also, going to this the place I want to go for my prayers or go for relaxation. Now I'm like, okay, this much is possible and this is not happening. And this is what I'm also adding one more thing is taking the weekend off as a weekend off. When you're an entrepreneur and you are working, you're always working. Your staff is taking a leave. Everybody else is getting a break, but you are always on a go. So you need to decide now whether for us sometimes during training, there can't be a weekend, but one day of the week
Yes.
has to be totally a disconnect. Now, whether that you want to clean your wardrobe, you want to eat, you want to binge watch without feeling guilty.
I think that's what Mohak has told me. Wednesdays, it has to be an off. So you don't work on Wednesdays because Saturday, Sundays you're working. So that should be your free day. So now I'm allowing myself the privilege of doing nothing and realizing that in this crazy world of rat race, we keep running, 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 running. And then one fine day said, अरे ये race कब खत्म होगा? ये race कभी खत्म नहीं होती है, right? So why don't we pause, look at the birds? Have you ever seen a parrot? When was the last that you saw a parrot? When was the last that you heard, the Maina sing or the Koel sing? When was the last time when you saw a golden oriole? I don't know even if you know that these kind of birds exist. And believe me, they are like, prizes for me. I take that time to look at those leaves. Have you ever looked at the leaf from down and taken a photograph of it in the light? So these are things, like I'm reminded about William Wordsworth's this. What is this world if full of care? You don't have any time to stand and stare.
Wow.
Stand beneath the boughs and look at the daffodils. 10,000 I saw at a glee. I mean, these are all, the divine constructs in this material world. And if we do not connect to this divine constructs, we will only be, connecting ourselves to the material, the world. कितना करना है, कहाँ तक पहुंचना है, क्या हासिल करना है. अंत में अगर हमने अपने आप को हासिल किया तो मैं समझती हूँ सब कुछ हासिल कर.
So beautiful.
So, continuing, I have written a question for you. Many people feel pressure to constantly perform an image, especially on social media and at work. So, from an image consultancy point of view or perspective, how can pauses and doing nothing actually improve confidence and personal presence?
Beautiful. I think this is such a good question. Thank you for addressing because this is where the biggest challenge comes when people think of image consultancy or image building. They only think of what is out there on the social media. You need to look in a certain way, you need to talk in a certain way, you need to show up in a certain way. In fact, that is something which is there for sure because that is there for a few milliseconds or few minutes you can see it. But at the end of it, it doesn't sustain for a long time because at the end, people then meet you and connect with you. And then they see there's a disconnect and you cannot maintain it. So that's why we see a lot of people, they are there and suddenly you see the spree of, it's like, spree of posting and then suddenly they disappear. They say, we tried, it didn't work. It's not a yoga that you tried. It's not a meditation that you tried and it didn't work. It was something you didn't evaluate who you were. So when we have people, when they come for image consultancy, first we ask them and tell them that it's not about changing who you are. It is just blooming out the inner person in a better finished packaging. See, today our packaging is changed. When we used to give gifts before to people, even a fruit or a dry fruit or a sweet cake shop, you see their outer packaging. Inside the cake is empty. I'll give a simple example of dairy milk. कुछ मीठा हो जाए. The minute it is August and everywhere we see big billboards of saying कुछ मीठा हो जाए and everything. And look at dairy milk. The chocolate is the same, everything is same, but its packaging changed and the pricing factor changes. Same thing is with image. As you evolve in the different contexts of life you come into, the different spheres, different growth factors of your life, different environment and friend circle, you need to build up your image. And today, social media simply tells you one simple thing that everything with one click is easily available and you can talk about yourself. So when we are talking about doing nothing, image simply means being a perfect, authentic reflection of who you are. So suppose you don't like wearing a blazer jacket, you like wearing a dress, you don't want to wear too much of makeup, but the little bit, it's about you. And I tell this to all the women, it is not about being a mimic of somebody else or you need to copy paste something else. You don't need to follow trends. Be the perfect reflection of who you are because that will bring that charm, that smile on your face. An image consultant cannot bring that sparkle in your eyes. No training can bring. No outfit. You know, that's why we have on Instagram also. This one wore better or this one wore better. The outfits are same, but it's the personality who wore it. And if you're trying to push something hard, it can be seen. But when you're being natural, you're like, I don't know what was it about them. They kept speaking and I loved it. They were there and their presence made a difference. And you remember that. I might forget your name and I'll say, but I remember your smile, I remember your energy, and that's what we remember, all of us. And I think everyone who's here, you might forget exactly what all she was teaching during that session, but that energy, that feel, that high frequency, and at the end, this is what we want to do. We want to go to people who charge up our energy and remind us of who we are because the intelligence between us or within all of us, the intelligence which is there is absolutely spectacular. We all just need to charge it and bring it out and reorganize it.
So I believe you get not what you want, but who you are. So image is all about your personal brand. So you have to be your authentic self. You can't put on a mask and be with the mask all the time. One day or the other, the mask is going to go, right? So who you are, and you have your own personal style. I mean, I can't go behind her and have her face, or she can't come behind me and have my face. She is herself.
AI can do all that, but it will last so long. We can have our voices and face and swap over with that. But you can also see the AI effect has an AI effect and human effect has a human
In
effect.
fact, I don't, the moment I see that it is an AI video, I just don't feel like looking at it. However beautiful it might be. Even the posts on LinkedIn, some of the posts on LinkedIn, you get a series of great content, deep content, but I just don't feel like looking at it because I am not feeling connected to that content. I want live human connections. Like, I mean, we are having this place, it doesn't cost us much, but the feeling here is awesome. And I'm sure everybody who's watching it, this background is really great, right? And this is who we are. We are the elements of earth, water, fire, and space, right? So when we are there, we are at our natural best. So I believe that that doing nothing is an essential part of today's regime for everyone. Because as life is becoming more and more complex, pollution is increasing. People are getting tied to their phones and to the rituals that they're supposed to perform, whether at home or at work. The space to be connected to yourself is not there. So doing nothing definitely connects you to the divine plus the divinity within you. And when you have the divinity within you, I think you radiate that. Absolutely. And you form connections just by a look. Like I remember I'd gone for a fashion show at St. Andrews, and we'd come to have something. We were sitting in the restaurant, and this one lady, she's constantly looking and smiling at me. So I just smiled back up at her. And when I got up, she came and gave me a hug and she said, "You're looking so beautiful." And I said, "Wow, this means so great." Absolutely. Right? To just be who you are. And to be who you are, you have to be connected with yourself. And that is possible only if you add doing nothing to your ritual. That means being alone and being content being alone. Yes. Any last points?
So now I would like to proceed further.
Yeah.
Our next question. That is that young people today feel constant pressure to succeed, to be visible, to be productive, to be, So, what is the cost of not slowing down or not doing nothing?
Correct. The cost of not slowing down is burnout, either physically or mentally. So, if you do not allow that time for yourself, you will not be able to be rejuvenated. And how much ever spas you do thinking about the next mail that you have to send, it is not going to relax your feet. I remember when I'd gone in for a facial, I was just looking into the phone and answering the messages. And that lady tells me, "Ma'am, please phone बाजू में रखो, मैं जो कर रही हूँ उसका लुफ्त उठाइए आप." वो फेस रिलैक्स नहीं होगा, ग्लो नहीं आएगा. And that struck me. That's exactly what's gonna happen. How much ever makeup you do, your natural glow is not going to come unless there is a divinity radiating from within you, and that divinity will radiate. This is the modern facial, I feel. Doing nothing can be a modern facial where you allow time to be with yourself, rest, and get recharged. Rest, recharge, work, rest, recharge, and do nothing.
So, from a psychological point of view, from a psychological lens, what surfaces when person truly does nothing?
So, when you do nothing, you get time to do everything that you have not done before.
Like there is no
Example.
phone, no planning, nothing.
Yeah.
Then what?
So there is no phone, there is no planning, there is nothing. So I am able to live in this moment. I am being grateful for being alive. Gratitude is what comes to me when there is nothing with me. And I'm so thankful that I'm breathing and I'm alive. I have my two legs on which I can stand. I have these hands which I can use to work. And I have these trees which are guarding me against the sunlight. They're giving me the breeze. So I think when I do nothing, I come into a state of gratitude. And a state of gratitude is what increases your frequency, it increases your aura, and helps you to somewhere go down to your real purpose. Like so long, my mission was to inspire 1 billion plus people to transform to their best version. But I just got this understanding about my real purpose, which lay hidden. So, me as a woman, a matured woman, I could not speak for myself for so many years. And in this moment of nothingness, I realized, are you ready to take up the baton of sharing your experience to those ladies who have not been able to speak for themselves and ask for their rights?
So maybe
The purpose in the purpose is what came to me.
so maybe you face the problem of not speaking for yourself. So
I
maybe you
did.
can solve others' problem like you did for Usha.
Exactly. That's exactly what is coming to me. And then she keeps reinforcing that, "Ma'am, you told me to speak for myself. Why don't you speak for yourself?" Is the message that comes to me. And I said, "Oh my God, I did that." Today I had another client who was not able to assert herself and refuse the invitation. And I realized I'm doing that. So whoever comes to your life is reflecting what you need to work on to. So that was also a message that I got. So we do not know how many messages you can get from the divine for when you do nothing. And I think that's the purpose of today's session. And I would like
I
to
think
thank.
to wrap up, I would say one thing. We live in a world of very instant. Everything has to be instant. That's why we can't watch it in that 5 seconds ad. First, we used to watch a 10, 15 minutes ad between every sitcom that used to come when there was no Netflix on our television and nicely still wait for the suspense show and week after week wait for that show. And that time the shows used to be, I have to literally wait for months to see. Here in overnight, we will just see what is the finale because we are so curious to know the end result.
Yes.
And this is why doing nothing is becoming difficult concept because we want that adrenaline rush. So when you ask about youth or it's not only but everybody wants that instant gratification.
We can constantly overstimulate.
Even if I'm relaxing, I need to know the result right away. I've just gone 2 days for a walk. I want to feel the changes right away. I've done 2 meditation sign or 2 good pep talk, and I feel like I should have. And when doesn't happen, we put across this concept doesn't work, this strategy doesn't work, and again we are running back to finding something. Stick to one thing, find one ritual and stick to it no matter what happens. And it's like that drop in the ocean, it will reveal itself, but we need to give time for it. And thank you so much for, making us sit over here. Because when we talk on such topics, it is a reminder for us. We go back and we realize, okay, let's look. So I think now what we are going to do is just sit here for a while and just soak in everything without being thinking about anything or conversing on anything. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining us here today.
Thank you so much. And I would like to say that perfection is not a trifle, but trifles make perfection. So these little moments of doing nothing with yourself is going to go a long way for you to have a satisfying, content, grateful life. Stay blessed. This is Vijay Tushar, life and leadership coach, signing off for now with these two beautiful ladies, Tarveen Kaur and Poojan, who's here with us today. And next Wednesday, we're going to have something really rocking at 7 p.m. on the same channel. Stay blessed and do share, like,
Share and
subscribe,